One of the easiest tier 2 Throne and Liberty bosses to learn is tier 2 Duke Magna, or also known as Turka in the tier 2 dungeon. This is because its mechanics are extremely similar to its tier 1 version, and the only real difficult thing about the boss is jumping over its grounded shockwave attack. That being said, it is still a tier 2 boss, so it will still be somewhat difficult. To start, during all stages of the fight, all other roles always want to be on the opposite side of the tank, or at least at an angle from the tank, as the boss consistently uses a long range slam that deals big AoE cone damage. The boss also has a grounded shockwave AoE that will hit big damage all around the boss room. For this mechanic, the floor will light up orange and orange highlights will move towards the center, where on reaching the center it will explode back out, hitting all areas of the boss room and dealing big damage. For timing this attack, you want to jump when the orange highlights are 3 character steps away from the boss. Being able to consistently jump over this shockwave is super important, as it will use this attack a lot of the times throughout the fight. It can also use it back to back in different variations. The boss will also use a second shockwave attack where he uses the voice cue, "I'll crush you all." During this, he will slam his mace to the ground, so here you want to jump up just before the weapon's animation is about to slam the ground. Usually after this attack, he will combo it with the first shockwave attack version. For its pull mechanic, the boss will pull you in and spawn a sheep on the outer edge. Everyone but the tank should instantly take out the sheep and then interact with the orb that appears after defeating the sheep. During this, the tank should be drawing boss aggro away from the sheep location. All players but the tank should interact with the orb, as the more players that interact with the orb, the quicker the interaction will complete. After fully interacting with the orb, everyone will get a protective Sapphire shield around them. Just so you know, you must always interact with the orb every time you defeat the sheep. After taking the orb, the boss will eventually move back to the middle and use a third version of the shockwave slam AoE. This will wipe all players if you did not fully complete the sheep interaction mechanic. Side note, if the tank falls on the boss is at a low HP percentage and you're also on the orb mechanic, then another player should draw aggro of the boss and move it away from the orb while the rest of the team interacts with the orb. Moving on, the boss also has an attack that will call down 3 meteors. You want to move out of the impact areas once again. The quickest way to do this is Q movement dodge or sprint morph out of the impact area. Again, this attack can be comboed with the shockwave AoE, causing huge damage and potential for a player to be wiped. Once the boss is at a low HP, there will be 2 sheep spawns, and you always want to focus on taking out just one, so be sure to go where the majority of the team is. Finally, a few extra important tips for the tank. You want to Q movement dodge when the purple square attack animation shows. This needs to be timed right when the purple animation reaches the center. You also want to be making sure you're on the opposite side of the rest of the team as the tank, and again be sure to move the boss away from the sheep orb mechanic. Finally, healers should almost always be healing the tank, so if you are the tank and you're not getting healed, be sure to type it into the chat.